Kitana, the Edenian princess of Mortal Kombat, and I specifically mean Edenian princess and not Outworld princess because today we're not talking about Mortal Kombat 1 Kitana, we're very specifically talking about Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance Kitana, because I have a very specific request that I'm working on today, so let's get to it. Alright, so I got a request to work on a redesign for Kitana's Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance look, specifically the Player 1 outfit, which would be almost the more traditional looking blue outfit with the mask and fans for Kitana. Sidebar, I've been getting a lot of Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance Kitana requests lately. It almost makes me want to break out Deadly Alliance and do a playthrough on the channel, so if you'd be interested in that, let me know. But in any event, this is actually one of my favorite Kitana designs. It's a simplistic look for Kitana in hindsight compared to all the ones that we've seen since then in Mortal Kombat history. But at the time, it was a more upgraded look from the Mortal Kombat Gold and UMK3 Kitana looks. And as a result of that, I knew I was going to have a bit of a challenge trying to redesign this look, because it's one of those if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of thing. So I didn't want to start messing up the actual look of the design, but at the same time, I wanted to see what changes I could do to almost make it better. So let's see how I fare by going back in time to 2002 and giving Kitana a Deadly Alliance makeover.
You chose wisely.
Alright, so I started off with a base pose for Kitana, almost like a base fan pose, because I used the old MK image as a reference to sort of pose her out. The fans themselves, I didn't change too much from the Deadly Alliance sort of looking fans. A lot of this design anyways is going to be very similar to the Deadly Alliance design anyways, because I didn't personally feel like there was anything wrong with it, so I just wanted to enhance the design that was already present in the game rather than do anything drastic to change it. And so the basis for this design to me was of course the already standard design that she had in the game, but I also used MK3 Kitana, or UMK3 Kitana to be specific, as a reference because I felt like that was so similar to this costume. And I used MK Deception Melina as a reference just because it was a design that's close to Kitana's and is already in the same realm of games in the first place, so I figured that was a nice place to look. If there's any critique I think I could have had while designing this particular outfit, is that there aren't a lot of accessories and nothing extra or really unique or special about it. It's a cool design, it's just very minimalistic for Kitana, especially when you look at some of the other designs in the game. Take a look at Raiden or Scorpion's design from Deadly Alliance and then look at Kitana's to see what I'm talking about. But I think it'd be easier to explain the actual changes that I did make as opposed to what I kept the same, which would be a lot of this design. So from the neck up, I pretty much left that as is, including the ponytail. Once again, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I changed her actual top. There's more skin showing now, but at the same time, I also made it look a lot more like UMK3 Kitana. I didn't make it as open as, say, good God, the MK9 Kitana look, but it still has a lot more going on than the one that was already present in the game. The actual sort of knee guards and knee pads, I won't say knee pads, I guess guards would be a better example, but I altered those from her Deadly Alliance outfit. It's actually slightly closer to Melina's the way I did it, and then I made slight changes to her boots. I also changed the design of, well, her boots rode pretty high in the original game anyways. I just changed the way that they actually look, and then I gave her a sash that sort of is flowing down the front and back of her clothing. It's further down in the back than it is in the front. I don't know why it's an odd design choice, but something to make it a little more unique. And it looks regal, like it should fit a princess, like someone of Kitana's sort of stature in this game. So that was a decent enough base going forward. After that, I went back over it with the line art, highlighting over all the pieces of the design that I needed to, and then making changes where I needed to fix certain pieces of her design, like cleaning up where the sashes are and redoing the looks of the fans, because just looking at the actual base sort of sketchy art that I did before, it looks hideous, but me tracing over it with the line art cleans that up quite a bit. And then once I had that finished, it was on to the coloring phase. Before I continue, just like to let everybody know, if you like the design that I'm doing right now and want to see any of my other ones that I've done on the channel, go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't. Now getting back to her colors. Once again, pretty easy to do. I'll just have to use the base design from Deadly Alliance. Like I said, I didn't want it to look too crazy from the original design. Just wanted to enhance it, so feel like a broken record, but that was the thought process going in. Until I colored it, I didn't really notice a lot of difference in the design at all. It was almost looking a lot like the MK9 design until I added the black to it instead of the white on the design, because of course MK9 katana is blue and white, the Deadly Alliance one is blue and black, which I actually prefer more. Just seems more like classic katana to me, I don't know. And this is where the changes in the design also start to stand out. So the black and blue pattern in her top, almost called it a onesie, that I changed up along with the actual design of the sash, which is not present in her Deadly Alliance attire to begin with. And then of course her boots and whatnot are already different, and the sash in the back is also fitting with the design as well. Then I went back and added the, I don't even know what you would call the little pattern that's in like her mask and her fans. I didn't even originally notice that they were there. I figured that little design quality was only added in MK9. I didn't pay attention to the fact that it was present all the way back in Deadly Alliance, but I added those in as well. So then once I had the base coloring down and all the details there, it was on to the shadows, which also wasn't difficult. The shadows of the mask was pretty easy to do, knowing where I sort of had my shadows coming from on the picture, and then sort of blending the same thing in a ponytail. At the risk of sounding like a pervert, her cleavage was pretty easy to shade in as well, considering the way that the picture's drawn. And then the arms and like her legs and stuff like that, all easy to do. Metallic pieces of clothing, I don't know why that's always sort of the easiest things to like blend together with shadows and highlights for me, so that was alright as well. The most complicated part to me probably was the fans. For whatever reason, I don't know why I struggled with the fans. I actually did a couple passes of those, but then finishing that out, it was on to the highlights, and I ended up having to do multiple passes for the highlights too. I don't know why they didn't show up as bright as I needed it to, so I needed to go over those more than once. I didn't want to use completely white, but they weren't showing up otherwise, so I had a slightly like full opacity for the white originally, and then I went back into places I needed to and just used full-blown white from there, and then added the light details and then the specular highlights, and I was finished. And I had a Mortal Kombat Deception katana. A pretty unique request, and it's one that I don't do often. I don't, considering all the redesigns that people ask for characters you haven't seen in a while or are missing, I don't really prefer doing designs for characters that are already present in games. But when you start asking for like designs in a different style of an old game, it gets a little unique there. Between this katana one and the Delia one that I've gotten recently, y'all have been doing pretty well with some of these design requests lately. I can't say that I'm mad at it. But in any event, let me know what you think of this design for katana here and how you feel about the original Deadly Alliance skin to begin with. And as I've said before, like and subscribe if you haven't. And you all have a good one. And I'm out.